we actually selling our music on there? I will give an example. Recently, a client walked to my place and said, Kahil, you've been online for a long time. I have this music. Please find a platform. And it was easy. I did the thing in 2 days. We were done. The music was up. They are buying her music in Nigeria. Ugandans are not even buying it, but Nigeria. You see, now, here, Ugandans are not picking into those kind of opportunities. How do you market yourself? What are you speaking online? What's the problem of coming up with a mic and just sitting in your house? This is what TikTok is doing. And very many artists are coming out of TikTok. They're just getting online, picking a phone, get their screen light, and start singing. And then the cartoon gets popular on TikTok. And then everyone now wants that song. That is what is happening. Where are our Ugandan artists? I have not seen any. I am on TikTok. I don't see any of those music coming through. So, the opportunities are very many. The question is, are you creative enough to get with the revolution?
That's a question we want Albert Opio to talk about at some point. But let's dive to Stella Tal. Stella Tal in Paris. We want to know from you, Stella, financing of some of the things we're talking about. You've heard what Opio was saying, you've heard what Patricia is saying, but we want to know how you left the streets of Kampala to the streets of Paris, where you now sit, and how you change away from, she said she's no longer doing her own.
She's not imparting.
Yes. She's teaching kids. She teaches kids, yeah, exactly. And she's already forgotten about her brand. Which means there must have been something that has happened in the process for her to forget her brand, because otherwise survival would have been difficult for her and her family. Stella, that question goes to the Legal and Intellectual Property Corporation. We're going to get back to it, and we're going to get back to Opio on that one. But Stella, how are you selling your fashion and your fashion house? How is it doing? How are you selling? Are you selling things online? Where can I find? Can I order? Or it's not? If I need a child to teach me or to teach my son in Kampala from Paris, what do I do? How do I go about it?
Actually, for me to change from taking time promoting my brand to where I am now, it's been like COVID that has made me realize the other part of me, which is training. Because before I came here in 2016, and literally I traveled every single weekend. I had shows every single weekend. I was never home. The only time I was home is when I was maybe like Monday to Thursday, and I used the time to produce collections that I was going to showcase the following Friday or the following weekend. I've been to so many countries that some of them are even just, it's like a dream that I've been there, because you just get there, you showcase, you leave. And in 2019, I actually slowed down. I was like, I'm moving so much. It is too much. Can't I do something that really makes me sit home for some time? And that's when COVID came in, because you never even have like holidays. When I'm here, the 4 days I'm here, Monday to Thursday, you're creating at work, then you have other programs you're running in schools here, the community, and you basically like on your toes 24/7. So when COVID came in, actually I remember I was going to Sudan. There is a program I'm doing in Sudan, the fashion program, and it's trying to help the Sudanese fashion designers promote fashion through their culture on the global level. And I was insisting, yes, I have to go. So everyone was like, no, Stella, all the countries are closing down. That was March last year. And I was like, yeah, but no, everything has been like in place. Everyone is waiting for me. I have to give a presentation, this, that, ticket bought, hotel booked. And then everyone looked at me. They're like, Stella, you're not going anywhere. I said, I have to go. Then midnight, the night before I traveled in the morning, watching the news. And our president is like, lockdown. So I was like, okay. So I send immediately my team in Khartoum. I send them a message. I'm like, yes, we've been put into lockdown. So we thought lockdown was going to be 1 month or a few weeks. Then I said, the following week, I was like, okay, now I'm settled. let me think about collections I'm going to showcase after the lockdown. So I was so energetic the first week, very energetic. Then as time went on, you're still within this four-cornered house, from the bedroom to the kitchen to the sitting room to the bathroom. So you lose the interest. Even the collection I was working on, I gave up. Now I started watching news. You wake up, you watch news, you do exercise. All of a sudden, even you lose interest in all that. What next? Now you start playing with the children. Even the children are getting on your nerves. They can't see their friends. You're not allowed to get out of the house. Basically, you're just in the prison. And when I talked with my team in Sudan, and they're like, we need to make this happen, whether you're here or not. What do we do? I said, okay, fine. From the curriculum we had come up with, because I was supposed to do it like in Khartoum, like physically. But then we said, okay, what can we do? I said, okay, you know what? Let me come up with a program and let's do part of it online as we wait for COVID to settle down and I can come. Then while I was doing that, then there came a situation where people ran out of masks. You know, the frontline workers didn't have masks. So now the government was looking for designers in France to help out with making masks. So they gave like tenders to designers to make masks. It wasn't for free, of course. They gave us they gave us money, but then you could also volunteer because we relied France, you may call it like a fashion capital, but then we relied on the importation of such small things that are so essential. At one point, there was no single mask in the hospital. So all the designers, they sacrificed to make masks they could give out for free to the frontline workers. I remember Louis Vuitton, there was Hermes. They volunteered because they make really good perfumes. So they volunteered to make sanitizers out of their perfume products to give them out because we couldn't afford. There was not that we couldn't afford, but we relied on the importation of such products from China. So after a few months, Macron realized that, okay, if these people are so active like this, which means if we stop the importation of these products from China, this country is able to produce locally these products. So now they started encouraging people who could produce things locally to do that. And to do that, they encouraged designers who could give like training to the local community to empower them and to give them skills to produce things locally. So that is how I started training people how to do like masks. Then you train them how to like start marketing their products. Do shows, it's going to be the end of me. But then I could still produce clothes and sell them online. How do you do that? Like Opio, and she said, digital marketing was now the in thing. Everything had closed. So you had to make sure that you train yourself how to get into the system of digital marketing in order to get money. So we had to learn the hard way. First of all, we had to learn how to use Zoom quickly, how to market things online quickly, everything that is involved, like taking pictures, good pictures. You had to buy everything like on Zoom. I need good lighting, I need this, and now packaging this. We taught ourselves how to do that very quickly. Then for me, I remembered with a project I'm doing in Sudan, I was like, okay, I had an advantage. First of all, I've been in the business for 13 years, and I have the knowledge that I've acquired from my clients from different sectors that have helped me be who I am right now. I know exactly what is needed for the industry to grow. I know how the designers can create their brands, market, and get investment opportunities. So I came up with modules that can help designers start their brands, market them, and take them onto the global market, but also train them in the financially, like economic, not economic, but how do I say? It's a financial training where you make sure before for funding, they ask for funding, they have to make sure that the money they are going to get is going to do ABCD. And when I do ABCD, this is how I'm going to pay back. And you have to make sure that you pay back. And we have many platforms that are helping out with that. There are many platforms that have come out to help fashion designers. We have Fashionomics, which is based in Abidjan. It's under the Africa Development Bank, and it is giving funding for fashion designers, but you must know how you're going to use the money. So they give you training in financial, financial courses, enabled for you to manage your funding and be able to pay back the money. Then we have Equity Bank in Kenya under HIVA, which is also helping out. And then we have, of course, the Guti Center, Alliance Francaise, we have the EU, we have...
Let's call it what? Crocodile. Well, this is the Creative Industry Talk. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Alberto Pio, Stella Tal in France, and Patricia Cahill right here in Kampala. And hopefully we'll be able to touch base with Faizo Chiwewa, who is on a connecting flight, to be able to talk about some of the opportunity as far as the coordination and collaborations are concerned. How do you do it? Faizo is the founder and artistic director of Bayimba International Foundation that completely sprung out of Uganda to the rest of the world and is doing an amazing stuff. Lunkulu is a...
When you start a project, definitely, if it's a good idea, it has gone through the development process, then you start what we call in fundraising. As an institution or even an individual who has a creative project. There is what they call fundraising, and that is if it's a public good, it's a common activity. If it's a business, that's a different thing. So when you're doing a business, creative business project, you're not asking for funding, you're asking for investment. People just get turned off by just being asked. You know, you just come and say, "Why do you give me money?" I'm like, "Who are you?" You know,
why should I give you?
Why should I?
What is it?
How do I get them to know that I exist? You're not asking yet, but you're just trying to check in, to test the waters and see how whether it's possible. I've met Faizo. I know Eddie. I can, we've had a conversation. I trust what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So that trust is built within that asking. Honestly, the money is there. There's a lot of money, and those who know how to find it, they always find it. But then you find others saying, "Oh, that one is taking our money." Yet you didn't make an effort to find it. We have sleepless nights. I wake up at 2 a.m. to write applications, proposals. I try to balance my office daytime and my fundraising time and all the other things. So you really have to make an effort. The US has just put out a call. The State Department has just put out a call for support for a collaborative grant between the US and Uganda. It's for institutions, it's for individuals, for practitioners that are interested in exchanging ideas and knowledge between US and Uganda specifically. And it's quite between $5,000 to $50,000. So it's available. I talked about earlier about the SCP fund, which was it was introduced already here in Uganda before COVID, I think. And finally, we got British Council and HEVA managing this fund for East Africa. So if the call is almost out, I think they'll put it out in May or June. And when that call comes out, you can apply for like 180,000 euros for 3 years, that you can do whatever you want to do. It's both institutional and for individual projects.
Please share it far and wide. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And this information will always remain there. You can watch the show anytime. You can share it far and wide. And Faisal will be back here next week. We'll be talking about investment into the creative industry and how we can go about it and who needs what, where, when, how. We'll be talking about it next week. Until next week, Angel Killer, Faisal Chiwewa, the founder and the CEO of Baobab Foundation, we're signing out on the Creative Talk.
An army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. That's a fake.
Yeah.
So let's be very honest about this thing and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong, just like a lion. You know, when a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away. And yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion. They are heavier than the lion. They are more intelligent than the lion. They are taller than the lion. They run away. The lion, because of its attitude, it sees lunch. That is a leader.
Mr. Tony Trapp, thank you very much for coming to the CEO bench. And I want to ask you, so if you were elected the President of the Republic of Uganda today, what would be your first State of Nation address? Now, as you look into the camera and close the show.
I think my first State of the Nation address would first of all to... I think I'll just close it down.
Welcome back to the program. This is a Creative Industry Talk. If you're not enjoying this program today, then there is something fundamentally wrong with you, if you're a creative mind. And if you're not creative around this time of the show itself, then you're probably not a creative person, because these guys have shared so much about how you can navigate the challenges, tap into the opportunities, and be able to cross the border with your product or with your creativity and sell your product. Well, Albert Opio, Cahill, Insights. Opio said we should call you like that because we have to come for Insights itself from on how to survive online, because this is the only time she's very relevant to us right now, because she's been there since she was 12. And some of us are learning when we are 40. So you can imagine the difference in the situation we are going through. Well, welcome back to the program, guys. And Stella Tal in France, thank you very much. I want to just take you guys through this. While there are many benefits come out of the digital advances, so does one of the major challenges, okay, for the industry. And I would like to say this: the global competition from the film production to design to new international centers for creative businesses all across the world are developing rapidly across the globe. All right, and that's the fact. I mean, you've heard from Stella the story of France not being able to, they survived so much on import of this stuff from China, and COVID-19 came and hit, and then all the creative people are now at the forefront to try and make sure that we have the mask for the first-line, health workers to be able to use. I think I found that very fascinating, and I think that if Uganda had done the same thing, we would be very far. I don't know how many of us hand sanitizers we have now hit if we have overtaken Brazil. The president said we are going to overtake Brazil in that context. I don't know whether we have overtaken Brazil already, but I know that we did produce many of them. But the other side, Patricia and Albert, this thing is also making it quite harder for small businesses to enter the new emerging market, which means you have to be sharp enough, you have to be smart enough, you have to be like Albert Opio. You have to be seeing this thing, like Opio said, there are certain things, the rule of the third when you're designing, and the things you should do and the do's and don'ts, those were taught. And Opio developed skills out. It says, yes, I am here. You are here with all these things, but still I am still making money better than you, because Opio has certain skills and is going through, which the young people don't have, and many of the businesses are closing. The world says Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world. All right? And they also said we are culturally the most diverse country in the world. Now, ideally, we should be the richest country in the world with what we have. And Patricia, I want you to dive into that.
Like the reason I
Yes.
actually, this is interesting for me because
Yeah.
I am one of the young people who is supposed to be dead in business. Because wait, our business don't last for 5 years. And now I'm here tailoring to 10 years. So yeah, Kahil, you've done it. But here's the
Yes,
thing.
yes.
I actually don't believe that I've done anything yet.
Yeah.
Because I've not held, someone has not come in to say, Patricia, here, let me hold your hand. Let me show you the ropes. I'll tell you straightforward that I started Kahil Insights with my own sweat of 5K. 5K Banangi guys. 5K. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
Uganda shillings, please add, not Kenya shillings. Because
Ugandan
shillings will be more.
shillings
Yes,
of
yeah.
5K. And it was to buy me data. And I wrote a blog that brought me money, 300K. That is how Kahil Insights comes in. You see? But no one came in to hold my hand to tell me how a company runs. I had to learn on the job. So you're doing the business and doing it here. I'm bringing this story because you said somewhere there that young people businesses are failing. And why are they failing? Because the adults who are the Alberts, who have been in, have not identified to say, Kahil is doing something nice. Let me walk in and offer mentorship. Adults, Munangi, you want us to run to you. But then you also look at us as young people who have no ideas. We want everything. We are so loud. We are everything. So how are we supposed to come to you to get the mentorship that we need, or the grooming that we need to have our business grow to making the money that you're asking for, to make us a rich country? And when we do come, when we decide and say, I need the help, then you're going to put all these prerequisitions on us without even understanding where we're coming from. Example, the person I went to give business earlier, and they told me my business, I need to find a job. You see? So we are all bundled up in our own sector. We are all bundled up in our own ideas and supporting each other. But we are supporting each other from a place that is, we do not have experience. So we are creating our experiences and solving them in the same time. So our will, this is why it is so fast for you to even come in and help. Right now we've decided to say, let me go in, get burnt, I'll come back and tell you guys that I got burnt, but now this is how you do it. Because no one outside is saying when you pass there, you get burnt. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when our technology walked in, do you know who the first people who discouraged technology? You, the old people.
I knew you were going to come there.
You say
Yes,
we
yes.
spend so much time on Facebook. You make sure that when we even got employed in your businesses, you switched off the internet so we don't access Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, any of those platforms. You waste a lot of time. Am I wrong?
No,
How
you're
about-
not wrong.
Those
You're not
were the
wrong.
actual ones.
Yes, yeah.
Now we found our ways. I'll get a mobile phone, don't use your internet, I'll use my internet. Now you guys are walking into our space and saying it is now important. Hey, for crying out loud, guys. First go back 10 years, 5 years ago, you said it was not. So now, it's like payback. Indirectly, actually, young people are paying you back. This is why, when you closed Facebook, we went to VPN. We're like, don't worry. It is okay. You don't want us to be online, it is fine. We will be online in our own dark web. You see, what I'm trying to show is, the adults, or the government, or whoever is in power in whatever way, you're not making it safe enough to say that this is necessary for the country. Right now you're putting 12% on the internet, beginning 1st July. And how do you expect the creative industry of I cut my shoes and I tailor my clothes, I have a Facebook page, and now my internet that I was working at I was paying 100 MBs at what, 2K? Now I'm going to put 2.5 for 100 MBs. How is that removing money from my profits? So that you, who is asking for the economy to grow, the economy can grow. And where is my 500 of the 12% on the internet coming back to help me? Because you're not even investing back in my small sector business, my creative business at all. You see, even like a small thing you would have said, okay, I'm giving you free internet to grow. You're not enabling it to grow. You're closing the platforms I'm working on. Ugandans, the biggest percentage of Ugandans are on Facebook. They use Facebook for almost everything that they need, but it is blocked. When we want now WhatsApp, we also want to close WhatsApp because it's where we are sharing all the videos. Now where do you want us to make money from? We the creatives.
Wow. Well, Albert Opio, I know you are itching to jump in there, but I want to say something. Sometimes also the young people are nasty. The word is, yeah, the word is nasty.
Who is the adult who taught us?
You see, attitude.
Who is the parent? Who is the parent who taught us to be nasty?
No.
Sips coffee.
No, please, when you're blaming a bitch, what are your children?
Yes, the reason why I'm saying this is because sometimes, I know you said about mentorship that wasn't there. Actually, I was mentored. You know, and I come from a generation of the class of 1983-84.
Were you mentored in the technology?
Yes. Well, I was mentored. Reason being, my attitude towards my mentee was good. Before we went for a break, Albert Opio was telling us here how the young people they were mentoring before. And what he said in the break, when we're off the camera, when he said that when I look at the companies that I've worked for all these years, my CV can no longer get me a job because all of them have closed down. The CV is closed down, so he has only one company under his CV, which is the company he started and is still surviving. Okay, real marketing.
Yeah.
Now, if our attitude towards grooming is not okay, but we want to hang out with the old people are there's going to be a clash.
Yes.
And when there is that clash, it means that we are not learning. And so, whereas the young people are now succeeding on the internet and you've learned all this, but you see the old is coming and clipping your wing every now and then. You say 12% is coming in July and things like that. So, when you skip a step, there's going to be that. How do we make it better? How do we navigate this challenge? In fact, I want to ask Albert Opio this question before. Albert Opio, what constitutes to the creative industry in Uganda? And basically the examples we want you to give us, and then look into what Patricia just said, which is the common challenges that we are having right now between the old and the young, and the categories of some of these things that we're talking about. How do we address them going forward as we bring the show to a close? But also, we want to touch the branding. Some of these people are also talking about this thing, but personal branding is very key, and the branding in general of a product. I know we can't complete this program today. I've already seen a lot of requests saying this show cannot end today and our time is fast spent, but Albert, dive into it.
Patricia got so passionate
yes.
about these old people.
Yes.
But I can look at it from a different perspective.
Yes.
There will always be challenges that young people find. Either it's regulation or it's people who are not yet ready for the changes that are coming. But young people are dynamic. Young people they're just built to find a way around things. when our parents put the phone in the box and said they were very happy that no one has called, we found a way of calling. That was old people that time regulating us. But we found a way.
We found a way, yes.
Watching the deck, go to your parents' bedroom, remove it, make sure everything, remember where everything was, come and watch, then 4:30, guys, put it back, clean, remove fingerprints. You get what I'm saying? That there will always be challenges for young people getting into a new space. Because that time when it was a deck, parents did not understand what a deck was. Why are we wasting power? That time it was wasting power. Now we are talking about wasting data. You get it? So that time it was power, this time it is. So there will always be something which kind of hinders the young people's ability to change. But look at me. I use 1 GB of data a day. I think 300 of that is used to look for money. The other 700, I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm watching things, I'm on Nat Geo, I'm on Facebook, those videos are loading automatically. Those things are eating my data. Because I think for me at this point, I'm looking for something new. I'm looking for a spark. I think my old journey is becoming obsolete, and I'm looking for a new journey. So I'm looking for ideas. So much as I feel like I'm wasting 700 MB a day, I think that is school fees that I'm paying in terms of learning something new. So when I see people complaining about, say, being online and freezing or closing, I'm like, okay, channel 1 was you're starting your small business and you're using Facebook as a platform to market your products. If you look at the data from the government, they say pretty much 80% of the people who were online are still online. So the guys, in fact, they're probably going to remove OTT because they said it hasn't worked. The money it has generated is not worth it. So that's why they're removing it and putting it on data itself, such that everyone, all the 18 million phones, by default, pay that. Because now, like me, I paid OTT.
I pay also. Even this morning, I paid for us to be on this show.
Yes. So I pay because I am a regulation guy. I don't like fighting government over small things like 200 shillings. So I pay. But it hasn't worked because the young people have shown the government or the older people that we can work around your systems. So, and that is a good thing about being young. You're always willing to try out new things. But let's go back to how a young person can use the opportunities that are there and change their business. Maybe selling shoes online or selling, what's the most popular thing they sell online? I don't know.
I sell masks.
Right now,
Clothing.
Food, masks.
And food.
You get it?
Food is the...
Maybe that was the first thing that you used the internet for or used the online social media for. That was idea number 1. That doesn't mean the ideas are frozen.
No, it doesn't.
The ideas are many. Eddie, you've wanted to have a TV show for a long time. The guys in the industry closed here and closed here and closed here. And now we're online. You get where you control and regulate how you want to be online. You determine who comes to the show, you determine how the graphics. Basically, everything is in your control. You've beaten the system. So when they said OTT, you paid because you're like, me, I want my system to be online. So we need more people going into these small challenges are worse than the challenges we had where I had to go with the floppy.
Where sometimes the diskette would, the way you put it in the pocket, if that thing just moves like this, it doesn't open and the thing crashes.
Exactly. There was a technology called zip drive. That guy was like a king. If you had a zip drive, he would take your wife. Those guys were angels. But the technology came and wiped them out, right? So every time there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. I realized 2 things. 1, I talk a lot. And somebody said, Herbert, I think you need to put that mouth to use. Make money from that mouth. Maybe the skills I have in clicking and whatever, maybe that's not where I'm supposed to be.
You need to be
Maybe that's where my training was, but that might not be where my skill is. For example, I like teaching. You get it? So why am I not teaching? So I like talking. Why am I not making money from talking?
yeah.
So in other words, I should start saying, what can I do with these other things that are sleeping?
Yes, yes.
And then, but then I don't want to do it in a haphazard way.
Yeah.
How am I going to make money? So I need to go and pay Kahil insights.
Yes.
So she gives me insights. So I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now break it down for me. Which one do you think, with my skills?
Yes.
Which one do you?
With my
Let's do the mathematics for me.
my
Which one?
Yes.
Age is a number. I'm not being left behind in this technology thing. I'm coming.
Yes.
Anyway, but you have guys like like Top Gear.
Yes.
How old are those guys?
Yeah, they're very old
But
guys.
they're on YouTube, they're
top of
on
this
TV,
thing, yeah.
they're old guys, but they're relevant. So I don't think the technology changes have removed age as a factor. If you're willing to learn, you've got to be able to. So I think the young people have to look at the innate skills that they already have and say now, and open up, broaden. That's why I was really happy to have been to art school. Not so much that I got the degree, because I left it there, I didn't pick it up.
Yes.
No one has asked me for it. If they ask me, I walk away. Because that means you're looking for paperwork and not results.
Yes.
You're not looking for results.
Yes.
You're looking for paperwork. So I've left it there. Maybe they keep it better.
No, we are many who left it
They
there.
are very good. They are
We are
storing
many
it for
who
me
just said
for free.
finish. Yes. You want me to pay this for you to present it to me? Thank you very much. This is what I was looking for. Yeah.
Exactly. But what happened in the 3 years I was
Yeah.
there, everything that I came up with in my mind, there was nothing wrong and there was nothing right. So do your thing. Do your thing. Kahil, some guys would laugh at you. I mean, you can't draw a human being.
Yes.
But the guy would draw with the legs going this way. Yes. But then there was an art. There was a way to explain. There was a way to explain why his legs are like
Yes,
that.
yes,
They'd say abstract.
Yes.
So there was nothing wrong. Everything in creativity.
Remember that thing in the art school where they say same mistake is the art, is the art.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
we learned not to
Yeah.
look down on anybody's.
Yeah.
So if you draw things funny, we look for the good thing in that funny. So there was an elective called objective study.
Yes.
Which was exactly what it was.
Yes.
Objective
Study.
study. So they'd get a goat. I'll give you an example of a goat. They get a goat and like, there is the goat. We're not saying compete with the camera
Yes.
to draw the goat.
Yes.
But what do you see? And everybody sees the goat differently.
Yes.
So someone like, maybe I started the mouth. And then he focuses on the mouth only. And that is his skill. And I'm like, I want to see how, and it's sitting down. So the goat, of course, doesn't stay in one place.
yes.
You know, goats are restless.
Goats are
So
moving.
standing, lying. So in that time, pick what you think is your thing. The next day, they killed the goat. The week later, they killed the goat.
Yeah.
Then the goat is there, dead. What do you see in that goat? A week later, the goat is rotting. There are flies. It's smelly. What do you see
in the goat?
in the goat? What is the beauty out of that? Until we reached bones. It took us 3 months to draw this goat from when it is alive up to the end. And they were just trying to tell you, break out of your... We all know what a goat looks like. But each of you, what are you seeing?
Imagine this goat that when it
Yeah.
is not moving, it's like
Because
this,
some
when
people
it's
can
like
look
this.
at the way the maggots are,
yes, yes.
you know, and you know when you look at a maggot, it's kind of beautiful.
Yes,
You can look at it with all its grooves, and then other people are like, it's dirty, it's ugly, you know, it's messy, you know. So basically, everybody, you could see all those reactions
Yes.
in everyone's art.
Yes.
Someone's like, it's messy, it's ugly, it's beautiful. So someone would draw something, a wound, cut where and it's rotting, and draws it, and like, this is the most beautiful wound I have ever seen. You get it? Eh? But everybody was interpreting that assignment differently. So no one was wrong. And that, when I came out of university, I looked at everything as, where can I find the positive? So I'm never a negative guy. I'm always like, okay, so they've blocked the Facebook. Okay, the Facebook is closed.
So how do I get through it?
What about the YouTube?
What about Twitter?
What about Twitter? What can I do on Twitter?
What about this LinkedIn thing?
Yeah, this LinkedIn thing. What do they do there? You get, what's TikTok thing? Yeah.
They're for young people, but I feel like
yeah,
I use it.
what is-
I
what is-
signed it, I
What
signed
is
it before.
Vimeo? What is
Yes,
Vimeo? What is Vimeo? So I am wired
Yeah.
to look for a way out because in the training in art school, there was no roadblock. Whatever you did, it was like the lecturer come and ask you, take me through. I've seen what you've done. Just what is the thinking? Let's tap into how have I arrived here? Then when he understands where I'm going, he now tells me the principles. That I like where you're going, but if you could do this, he doesn't tell you what to do. He just tells you, he tickles and like, maybe this direction, maybe that. I remember painting, I painted something. I had no idea what it was. They said, go outside, pick any object and make a composition out of it, and that on those objects are where. So make a story out of all those random things you're picking from outside. So we picked them and I drew them and I'm painting and I swear I was lost on my own thing.
No, that reminds me
guy
of...
who turned out to be a very good friend of mine. He was in third year, I was in first year. He was Gerald Lukongwa.
Yes.
He's passing by, third year guy, they know they're almost done. Yeah. Then he passes like, what is this? Yeah, me, I got this thing, I began drawing it, they told us, but the guy's like, I see where you're going. Then he turned it like this. Now here I see a landscape, I see this, I see that. I'm like, wait, which landscape? I was like, I see the landscape, I see the landscape. So this kind of thing looks like a person, like they're walking, they're like, wow. I said, I turned it and then I enhanced what he saw. They looked at my artwork, I'm like, the lecturer was like, who did this?
Abad Opiyo.
Now you're getting the point. I'm like, what? So now I was confused because I did not know how to do another one without Gerald. I was like, Gerald, come. I have another one. You turn and I see.
How it works.
How it works. Yeah. But the key issue was
and now,
open up your mind. Just let it flow. So I can understand the challenges that the young people feel like now every space is being closed. Yeah. But I think they're narrowing their perspective too much. Yeah. And they need to open up and see the opportunities. I want to do, for example, this mosaic wants to go and have a YouTube channel of two things. There are two things I like very much. Yes. Eating local food, eating local food. 2, travel. Or merging the two, because everywhere you go, you must eat food. Now, like for example, I give it here for free. If I don't do it, or someone else does it, right?
Yes. Can I give you a better plan?
Shoot.
Go TikTok.
TikTok.
Don't go YouTube.
So your school fees you haven't yet received.
I have to pay. So anyhow, so what I'm saying is that I'm thinking about it like, okay, I like travel. Every time I make some money, and the weekend is free, I want to enter the car, put fuel, drive. I've been doing this. I drove around Lake Victoria, drove around Uganda, drove around, as in went fishing on the lake, in Lake Albert, to fish Mukene. You know, we did all these things, but everybody asks, are you documenting what you are doing?
Yes. Yeah,
I was like, okay, all right, okay, how do I document? Because I have Bigambo, I can type and I write. Yeah, but there's better ways of documenting. You need a video. Like, now I have to learn video. Now I have to learn video. Do I have friends who know video? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now I have to collaborate. Yeah. It's now a part about collaboration. I have to find, if I'm good at one thing, how do I mix? Now the training and advertising allows me to look at a project from helicopter and look at it and like, okay, where do I plug in the advertiser? Because usually most creative people think creatively. Yeah. But the advertiser is like, I don't see where
I can come.
How do I help you?
Yes.
Help me.
You need to help you. Yes.
So
wow.
This thing is watched by many people. I get it,
but what are they watching?
What's in it for me? I see you're a very creative guy. You're talented. Yeah. Your show is beautifully done. It's nice.
Yes.
But what is in it for me? And that's where now I think the training and advertising is going to come to the fore.
Wow. Stella Tal in France, you've had a story from Abad Opiyo. You're going to give us your last take briefly. Stella, our time is fast spent today. We'll stretch this show by 15 minutes more, and we're going to make sure that we go to Stella, come back to Patricia, and we'll close the show. Stella, if you wrap it up right there, you've heard what Abad was saying. I think that the lesson we pick from Abad Opiyo and Patricia is that, one, there is always a way out. If they close the one going to Karamoja, find a way from the Western Uganda to get to Karamoja. Whichever way. Stella, over to you.
Trust me, I found my way out.
Yes.
This comfort zone, I didn't know that there was this part of me, the trading part of me. But for me, waking up and sitting in front of the computer, trading children from all over the world makes me feel like the knowledge I'm passing on is really relevant in the development of areas. And we have been appreciated, the fruits of the students who have undergone my training, what they're doing right now. Just after a few months of training, it makes me feel like I've been seated on a talent I never realized. And thanks to COVID, that it made me get to this side of me, which is passing on my knowledge that I've acquired for the last 13 years and passing it on to the new generation and helping them out grow their brands. For me, I feel proud about that. And I feel we haven't discussed so much about what we wanted to discuss today. And I would love to continue from here because there is a lot that we can share with the new generation, and there is a lot they can learn from us, much as they call us old age, ancient people, but there is a lot. And when Opio was talking about like training in a university, I remember, I don't know which university he went to, but I remember at Makerere when we had Maria Chizito, he used to take us out for nature painting. And then you go to the field and then he tells you, I want you to draw this. And then he gets there and then you've drawn something different and he's going to bang your head like this and you're like, shit. He was really tough, but then he wanted us to get some information that we're not doing. Like I draw something, he's telling me to draw a mountain, and then he's telling me to draw what I'm seeing. But what he's seeing is a mountain and trees, but me, I'm seeing something different. So I'm drawing something different, and when he comes, he's going to get two of you who have done a mistake, and he's going to bang your heads. And it's so hurting that you have to wake up and get to know exactly what he wants you to learn, which is not in the modern way of training because you're not supposed to beat children. You're not supposed to hurt them. So it is very complicated. Even sometimes when I go training, I remember when I was still in Uganda, I was given an offer to train at Heritage. But then the challenge I got, the children were not really into the art class because they loved art. They were into the art class because they didn't have any other lesson to take, like music or any other creative lesson. So you're teaching and children are doing their own things. First, they thought that the teacher before me, who was an old lady, they disrespected her because of age. But when I started teaching them, I found the challenges with the children. And my class was on Friday. You give them assignments. They don't want to go with their books at home. They tell them their weekends are for playing with their families, their friends. So I told them 3 times. Then I went and told the principal, you're wasting your money to pay me to do this work. And I am wasting my time because what I want these children to learn, they are not interested. They're in this class because they don't have an alternative choice, something else to do. So I would be grateful if I don't waste my time and you don't waste my money to pay me for no work done. Because if I teach someone and I don't see the progress, or I don't see someone succeeding in what knowledge I've given, then for me, it is not a successful story. So I gave up after 3 lessons, and I don't know if they managed to get someone because even the people who came after me, they faced the same challenges. So I would like to continue with this conversation because it is heading to something that is interesting, not only to the creative industry, but also to the education system and also to the young children. There is a lot that we need to share. There is a lot that we need to learn from each other. in order to make a creative industry develop.
Stella, wow. Patricia, we are back to you. As I can see here, this show is going to have a part 2 and a part 3 because you and Albert, you're not yet done. And of course, now that we know Albert is looking for new skills or training, I would like to facilitate the process of you giving Albert Opio this lesson live on television so that his contemporaries can see him learn from you, pick insights from Kyle insights on how to document his travel and how to go on Creative Industry Talk live here. We're going to plan it up and see how it works. But over to your final.
Okay. Using Herbert as guinea pig.
Yes.
One of the things that if you're coming online, you already have a product.
This is a Creative Industry Talk anyway. Guinea go there.
Anyway, so
the Creative Industry Talk, yes.
You have already your creative idea that you want to bring online.
Yeah.
Question is, you need to find out where your best audience would be. Who is your best audience and why are they your best audience? What is the best platform they are on? And what is required for you to build those platforms? The reason why I say TikTok earlier is because it is intense. It's at the moment, it's growing. You need to get into something that is riding already, that's something that has been around all, that people need to search you in. You need to be someone who attracts, not someone who markets. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So TikTok is an attractive place because the algorithm there is giving everyone information as you ask for it. Like if I go in and I say Uganda, I'll get everything that Ugandans are giving without them advertising for themselves. Locationally, TikTok kind of taps into your location and then gives you according to what you are. Let me say if you put Uganda and then put, I'll give an example on my side. My TikTok name is in Korean. I type everything there in Korean. So I get a lot of Korean content. Once in a while, they drop in a Ugandan content because then my VPN maybe came back home and gave me the line. But then again, before the VPN side, they were giving me Korean content because of the names and the things I was writing at. So you see, keywording and language also positions you in location. So that is why TikTok would be very good for your adventures and videos. And one of the other things I've noticed is if you hit 1 million people on TikTok, you start getting royalties and they pay you. Very good money.
The others, they don't?
The other ones give you money, but it takes long because they have they have been around for years. They have very many things.
But we are going. I was on TikTok and then I jumped off because I thought I was old. And young people there. So we're going back.
So I don't have to cut off this.
No.
Yeah?
There are older guys there's 78 years old, and he's in fashion for older people.
Okay.
He just comes in, gives the dressing, the walk, and how people should.
Mothers Union.
No.
Yes.
He's a man.
Yeah.
It's on nice.
Okay, Fathers Union.
How old men should look and how and it is working.
And that's his thing.
And
Yes,
that's
his
his
thing.
niche.
That's
That's
his
niche,
niche.
yes.
And he's making good money. There's another older woman who just comes in and teaches us how to do baskets. Like baskets, really make your own basket at home. And it's making good money.
Yeah.
But the reason why TikTok is because it's a new thing.
Yeah.
It's growing. So you need to get into something that is new to make sure that you grow with it. When you go to YouTube, YouTube should be like your storage. I'll call it storage. Just in case I need to give it a longer, because TikTok gives you between 5 to around 6 minutes. Of the
6 minutes.
Yeah. YouTube you can do an hour, so it can be your storage place for all your, and then just send people to, oh man, my YouTube.
So you, after 1 hour, you keep clicking snippets.
Yes.
Thank you. Same thing with Instagram, but then Instagram has too much, we already calculated it. And
They're still working. Yeah, they're still working on the numbers. They're going to open up. This thing is about going to open. You see, whoever knew that LinkedIn was going to start asking people for premium?
Thank you.
Yes. It was so professional until some of us walked in there and broke this whole thing of that. I need to be a white collar guy and just talk about my CVs and then this. LinkedIn, I broke the record of LinkedIn. I have 25 top searches for top executive hiring for Killer. I don't need a job from the LinkedIn. So I don't need it, but you can't break that.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. So I get a lot of you know, people requesting me to apply for a job, but I've been out of my job since 2006. I don't think I can ever go back to this job again because I want to think. But anyway, so yes, they're going to break that.
You get into a system that is new. Going back to my young age, 12 years old, we used to just hop from one platform to another one, tagged, high five, until we found Facebook to be stable enough to stay on.
You remember i5, guys?
I looked at high five.
That's why we started here.
Do you remember tag?
Maybe a high
Tag,
seven. Maybe a high seven.
Who's
high five?
The era before Facebook was i5, yes.
So when Facebook came, I was like, I refused all the others.
Where is this one?
Am I going to be left behind? So I opened Facebook, then I was there alone.
Yes.
Hello.
Guys, the creative industry has come to an end today. Albert Opio is, and you know, it's a different man altogether. I've always said to people that I will be the first person in the African continent to put Opio as a TV personality going across Africa, and I think it's going to happen. I think he's finally reached that age that we can bring all his you know, all his stuff you know, to that point. Not that we are abusing him for that matter. He's saying no, it's because he's got a certain set of skills that I don't think he knows God gave him. With all these experiences he has, I think he can do a very good job. And I think, thank you very much, Patricia, for making sure that we can bring Albert here so that TikTok starts to work. Until next week, we will bring you Albert Opio and Patricia Cahill back. And of course, hopefully, Stella Tal will be joining us. And, you know, one called Faizo Chiwewa. Guys, time is up for the show. We are done. We're saying bye-bye, everybody. Until next week.
The private sector is not yet fully utilized because not everybody can be employed by government. And we are looking at a future whereby more people are employed in the private sector than in government. So I think if we all work hard, if we all work together and invest in the right areas, there's been a lot of talk about value addition in the agriculture sector, in the mineral sector. If there is enough investment in those areas, I think it can create enough jobs for our children and grandchildren.
Okay. I just want to take you to question number 4, Andrew, which is, let's talk about your journey at City Hall and the foray into the Executive Director's office, which is as Andrew Chitaka,
Very
and as
interesting.
well as the Director Engineering.
Very interesting. I joined KCCA on 1st November 2011. And before then, I was
for so much.
CEO
of whatever. They give so much.
This is the reason why you're actually on the bench.
Because of my credibility. Thank you so much. But now they attack you, they vilify you. And the goal is to weaken you financially. Is to weaken your honor. These are slanderers. So I'm glad that someone would stay up at night to ask and learn about me. And I pray that in the next 2 months, because I know many Ugandans who travel overseas, when they go there, one of the things, because the media has been so much, and Sam Kutesa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, has really not done a good job. He has dropped the ball on this issue. Why? So many of us are being accused of being gay killers, including me. You've just heard that person. Uganda is being accused that we kill gays, which actually is absolutely untrue. And because of this, it has affected our tourism. It affects people who go overseas to do work or study. It affects whenever you go to a conference. Hi, my name is Eddie Okiela. Oh, where are you from? I'm from Uganda. Oh, you are the gay killers. And then you begin to describe. So one of the things that I've done is I've written a book, which should be coming out. I know that I keep saying the same thing, but the work of doing a book takes a long time, and I wish I could be supported. You know, many people who write on this subject, like Sylvia Tamale, she's supported by the Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie Foundation. There is money.
Is a very big brand, and as we go on, we will probably discuss the things we're trying to do to see that things change for the better.
Good. Sean, on the CEO bench, for everyone who is following, we're live on our YouTube studio where we actually stream from. So YouTube studio, for everybody asking for a link, is actually House of Talent Uganda.
Confident in themselves and what they are offering. I think that's the biggest problem. Like, women will easily settle for a less pay than men would.
Okay. Mona Onyeto Deke goes on to say, I think this is a comment, says, I didn't know that beauty products are taxed at 60%. Whoa.
They are. I pray that changes soon, but they are.
Okay. So with that challenge of 60%,
setting up the company, you're doing tours all across the world. You know, a personal account is great, but how these things are taxed becomes important for you know, for your business later on. As soon as you cross that threshold of 50 million a year, you know, you're now in
the interest become more shares.
Yes.
Welcome to this edition of the Coffee Break. This is House of Talent and my name is Atengi Emmanuel. Remember, this is the show that we get to talk all about coffee, what's happening in the coffee business, different elements about coffee. And back in the studio today is someone we all love, someone we've taken a long time without seeing. I love saying it, the Coffee Messiah is back. It's like the second coming of Jesus. So the Coffee Messiah has come back. Amon, welcome back to the show.
Well, it's nice to be here again.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You've actually been gone for a while. I don't know, were you like out converting people, you know, bringing people more into the coffee side?
Well, I've been trying to make ends meet and yeah, happy, healthy, so it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I hope your ends have met.
Yeah, they have, definitely they have met.
Well, to complement the Coffee Messiah, we have someone else in the studio, the first female guest we ever had on this show. And at the beginning of the show, she told me that since we have a Coffee Messiah, we should have a coffee goddess. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, Swabra Banks, to the show. Swabra, you're very welcome to the Coffee Break show. I know like a lot of people out there, whenever you tell them your name is Swabra Banks, okay? The Banks part is not a Ugandan name, totally not, okay? So how did you end up with that name?
That's a name that was given to me by a sister of mine, actually, because she used to believe in me and she was like, you're going to get a lot of money. Yeah, so she gave me the name Banks. Yeah.
So have you reached that point where you have that a lot of money?
Yes, I thank God, yes.
All right, so probably after this we're going to the bank with Swabra Banks. Yeah, but that's interesting. Welcome to the show. We just want to start off with basically your profile. Who is Swabra Banks? Who is I'm a Barista? You know, where did you grow up, and how did you end up into the coffee business?
Okay, so Swabra Banks is a barista.
Yeah.
I grew up in Entebbe Road, in Dendle, and I went to Mutesa One-Way University. I was doing mass comm. And then how I ended up into coffee, it was through a friend of mine who is now like a brother to me. He pitched this coffee thing to me. Of course, I didn't have interest in coffee, and I had to go and enroll in the academy. And then as I was doing the coffee course, I fell in love with the coffee.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. So you talked about, you know, in Mutesa One, you actually did a course in mass communication.
Yes.
So growing up as a child, what did you want to be? You know, people always want to be a lawyer, some want to be a pilot. I had some kids say they wanted to be a taxi conductor because they hold a lot of money. So growing up, what did you think you would be in the future?
I wanted to be an actress, actually, because I loved movies ever since I was a young girl. And I think I love the camera from day one. That's why I went to
So are there any hopes of you getting into the movie industry in Uganda?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I'm now taken by the coffee industry.
Well, that's very interesting. Amon, to hear from you. I also know that, you know, growing up you wanted to be something. You know, what did you want to be when you were a kid growing up? I know there was nothing like a barista in your mind. I don't even think you knew about coffee at that time. So, from my perspective, I think you wanted to grow up and be a model, but you can correct me on that.
Why would you choose a model? Well, me from, I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
I think I realized that in my basics. We had a teacher who was doing journalism at the same time teaching us SST. So this guy was like a lifestyle guy. He used to be a very, very, very inspiring guy. So I liked him from the start. So I'm like, okay, I want to be a journalist. So that's how I picked a dream of becoming. At least I'm trying to achieve that, you know. Because right now, if I'm doing mass comm, at the same time, we're doing coffees. So I'm still on the track. I'm not like Swabra who's already taken by coffee.
You know, the most amazing thing is that actually all the three of us here have done mass comm at a certain level. Okay, and
so we have one thing in common.
Yes, we have something in common at least. The other thing we have in common is that, you know, we all passionate about coffee, which is a very good thing. So, Swabra, you told us that a friend of yours, who's now like your brother, introduced you to the coffee industry. So I know that when someone introduces you, there is always a pitch they give you.
Yeah.
It's like if I want someone, let's say the Coffee Messiah always goes out to convert people, and he has to give a pitch of why should I join the coffee business instead of actually starting a boutique, okay? Which one would make more sense? So what were some of those things that he told you about the coffee business that actually pulled you into it?
Actually, the most interesting part about it was he also didn't know anything about coffee. he wasn't a barista by then. He just told me, you have to do this course and then come to Dubai and make a lot of money, because you know, the coffee business, there is money. So I also went into it to study to go and get money. But along the way, of course, I fell in love and I decided to stay in Uganda.
All right, so you talked about Dubai. Most of the people we've had on the show have had some experience with the Middle East. We had a guy who worked in Kuwait as a barista. So moving from Uganda to Dubai, did you go and work as a barista, or you went and got involved, you know, into other businesses?
I went to Dubai way back. I think that was around it was around 2014, but it wasn't coffee. Yeah, I knew coffee after I came back to Uganda. Yeah, because he was like, now that you're back for your vacation, you should do something different and then come back as someone new. Yes, that's when I went into the coffee industry.
Amon, I remember last time we were talking about you not wanting to go out of the country, you know, to become a barista. And I don't know if your mind has changed since then, yeah. But like most of our baristas go to Dubai, they go to UAE, yeah. I really haven't heard of any barista who has gone maybe to America, maybe to Europe. Is it easier as a barista to go from Uganda to the UAE than it is to go maybe to Europe or to America?
Well, guys do go in the UK, in the US. Guys do go, but only that these people go in the line of maybe doing hotels, not coffee shops. Because it's because someone is easy to access that side, and whoever goes that side, now there's a lot of connection that side, so people get to know that, okay, Emma went to UAE. But when someone goes maybe to UK, it will be hard for someone to know, because maybe like it's a family or a family friend who gets to know that, you know what, Emma went to UK. But people do go that side, and they make a lot of money.
That's very interesting. Still talk about Dubai. I know there are very many differences basically between Dubai and Uganda, okay? And going there, I believe there was that cultural change. So how were you able to deal with the culture change? Because I know that Uganda is more of a freestyle kind of place, and Dubai is really a strict place, especially when it comes to ladies. So how were you able to manage the culture change from Uganda then to Dubai?
It was really tough. It was tough for the first months. I think the first 2 months, and then of course the fact that I went to Dubai as you know, like looking for a job and all that. There are also other people who come to Dubai that are not from that country. So that kind of gave me a sense that I'm not alone in this. So of course you have to make friends. You have to learn the language, because learning the language is the most important thing to do. So I caught up with the situation.
Okay, so did you learn the language?
Yes, of course.
Okay, that's very interesting. So
I like the language.
If I went to Dubai and wanted to order a cup of coffee, okay, how would I say that in Arabic?
I don't remember.
So basically you learned a few things, like maybe greeting,
yes.
You know?
I used to know all of it actually, but it's been a while. I don't remember all of it.
Because in most cases, when you learn a language, what you get to know is how you greet and everything's like to keep you running in case you get lost. It's like those guys who come to Uganda. What they need to know is Mwasuze Mutia, Olibulunji, something like that. But they can't go beyond that.
I like how you say that, Olibulunji.
Because that's how they say it. That's how they say it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I also believe that dealing with people, basically when you're a barista, or at that time you're a waitress, okay? You have to deal with people, okay? And customers are really different. You'll find a customer who's really nice and sweet. Then there are those who are backing orders at you. You know, there are those that you can't deal with. So did you ever find yourself in a situation whereby you were presented with a customer who was really harsh, okay? and how did you deal with that situation?
The first thing these people do is to train you, customer care, how to handle clients, because of course they also know how clients behave. So you start up with everything like the day when you know what's coming. Yes, because you're in a country that is not yours. So every time you could get maybe a harsh client, you could know how to handle. You just be polite and apologize, and then you get the order and then you move on.
Okay, interesting. To Amon, I know that in Uganda there are certain places that I've gone to and there's totally no customer care. You enter a restaurant, you order for something. First of all, I believe that when you go to a restaurant or to a coffee shop, okay, someone is supposed to come and attend to you, all right? But there are some places that in Uganda you go to a hotel, you go to a coffee shop, and you really have to call the waiter or call the waitress to get served, okay? Amon, how has been your experience in Uganda in relation to customer care, especially where you work? Are we up to the mark of good customer care, or we still need a lot of help in that part?
Well, to be honest, in Uganda we still have the poorest customer care. Because in most cases, these guys who are in customer care or customer service, most of them are either in school and they're just doing the job for the sake of doing the job, but they are professional customer care attendants. These guys have studied this. They have gone to like a room and studied this. They have gotten training, so they know how to handle a person. But in Uganda, it's really, really hard to find a very, very good customer care. For a case of where I have been in a few places, I haven't had that bad experience with customer care because I've went to a coffee shop and I've received instant care, instant customer service, and it's been a nice experience. So I haven't received that bad service.
All right. According to me, I think that just like you said, we really haven't reached the mark. We still need a lot of help when it comes to the customer care industry. And I believe that most of the time, you know, you just get a job and there's really not much training put into it. You just start working and you don't know how to deal with people. I believe that the most important part when it comes to such a service industry is not even the coffee you're brewing or it's not the food that you're giving. It's basically how you treat the customers. Okay, that's what keeps them coming back. Okay. So Abra, before we go for a break, basically how we got to you was that you were blowing up on social media. Okay. A little bird told us that there's a certain barista that is now blowing up on social media. Okay, and it really caught our attention. We're like, oh, okay, you know, baristas are actually getting out there. You know, the coffee business is starting to grow. So before we go for break, I just want you to tell the viewers out there, okay, who are you on social media? What is your name on social media? Are you Swabra Banks? Are you someone else on social media? Because sometimes people have aliases, you know. I'm one on Facebook, I'm one person, then on Instagram I'm another person. So before we go into a break, just tell the people who you are on social media.
On social media, I use I am a barista.
Okay.
Yes.
That's both on all your social
all
media
my
platforms?
social media platforms, yes.
Okay. Yeah, please.
That is Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay. We're going to get into a break right now. In the studio, we have Amon Mukisa, the Coffee Messiah, and we also have Swabra Banks, the Coffee Goddess, and me, the Coffee Human, Ateng Emmanuel. We'll take a break right now, and when we get back, we're going to talk more about how you can brand yourself in the coffee business. Stay right there. This is House of Talent Television. Welcome back to House of Talent. This is the Coffee Break Show where we get to talk everything about coffee. And in the studio with me, I have Amon, the Coffee Messiah, and Swabra Banks, the Coffee Goddess. And basically, we've been talking about her life. Where did she start from, and how did she end up in the coffee business? We also had Amon telling us about his experience and what he wanted to be, you know, when he grew up. He said he wanted to be, you know, a journalist, okay, which I believe that you're studying, okay. You got me wrong. I thought you wanted to be a model, but here we are.
Why did you think I wanted to be a model?
Maybe look like one.
Yes. I mean, when someone looks at him, you know, you can see the well-kept beard, the well-kept hair, the nice shirt. I think it's something that you really need to look into.
Maybe I should.
Yes, you should. Okay. At least we'll say we know someone famous. Yeah, but like I said before, we went into a break. We're just getting into basically branding in the coffee business. Okay. Before I saw your profile on Instagram. I really hadn't seen any other barista who would put themselves out there. You know, it's like being a barista is only what you do when you're at your coffee shop or when you're at your place of employment. Okay, it's not like how you have all these social media influencers, you know, always putting out their videos, you know, tweeting on Instagram. I really haven't had anything from a barista. Okay, and it's good to have someone with experience. Okay, we just want to know, how do I start? If as a layman, I've gone to, you know, barista school, I'm a barista, where would I start when it comes to branding myself as a barista?
I think the first thing you have to do is get the passion.
Okay.
Yes, because you can do everything, but as long as you don't have the passion for it, you're not going to make people love it.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you have to fall in love with it first,
Yeah.
and then do some research. Don't be in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
You have to do some research, know more about the industry, be down to earth. You don't have to show off and all that. Yeah, and have content.
Yeah.
You should have content.
Okay.
Always have content.
Okay.
Yeah, people love to see what is unique about the industry.
Yeah.
What is she doing other people are not doing?
Yeah.
How come she's doing this and other people are not doing it? Let me follow her. Let me try to do as she's also doing. So at the end of the day, you make people love what you're doing.
All right.
If you also love what you're doing.
Yeah, so basically the first thing you're saying is have a plan.
Yes.
Okay? Sit down with yourself and say, you know what, this is what I want to achieve.
Yes.
Okay, these are the steps to it. All right, so I have a plan. This is what I want to do. Okay, but I'm not yet out there in social media.
Yeah.
One of the first things when you're basically picking a name, when you're picking social media platforms or what you're going to be on social media, is picking a name.
Yes.
Okay? The name, I believe, has to stand out. And
Yes.
the name has to be catchable, something that will stay.
Yes.
All right, so you use I am a barista. Okay, how did you come up with this name? I believe that there were countless other names you'd have just used for Banks.
Yeah.
I believe that in itself is a very good name.
Yes.
So how did you end up with I am a barista?
I'm one person who is very proud about being a barista. So the name just came up because I'm proud of being a barista. And you know, people used to call me Banks, and I wanted to stop that, to stop people to call me Banks, and maybe start calling me barista.
Okay.
So I wanted to send a message out there that I am a barista.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not a barista.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Amon, when it comes to branding, okay, what would be the first step in your regard, in your perspective?
Well, when it comes to branding, I think it's the cause and the value you stand for, because branding involves personalization or personality. Then it involves this other side we're putting out.
Okay.
Because I try to ask myself, why are we not having baristas taken as ambassadors of certain things? For example, we're having different artists come out and they're ambassadors of tourism, and yet coffee is a very, very key major factor in maybe tourism.
Yeah.
Why don't we have these baristas come out and they're like, you know what, Swabra Banks is the ambassador of tourism in terms of coffee, you know, she's going to influence coffee growing in a park or in Gulu. So why don't we have that? I think, like as Swabra is saying, you need to know why you're doing something, and you need to come out of the cage and start doing that. Because if we have various baristas have traits of branding themselves, for example, if I am a barista and I know, okay, I want to go beyond being the station, you know, I want to be out there, I want to show that I'm a proud barista and I can do whatever it takes to be that good person who can be approached and they give me business and I want to influence for a certain cause, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be a good thing. So like Swabra is saying, I just want to know how she came out with the name I am a barista, because it's really working. Because yes,
thank you.
Someone asks you, who are you? I am a barista. So how did you come out with that?
As I've said before, I'm proud to be a barista, and I am a barista. It's not special. It's just that I wanted to send a message to people that I'm a barista now, and I'm proud to be one. That's how I came up with the name, just like that. I am a barista.
Have you been approached by different companies to like do business with you because of I am a barista?
Yes, because everyone is like, what does barista mean? And then they have to look it up, and then they're like, oh, it means someone who does this and this and this. Because a barista is something huge. A barista doesn't just make coffee. No, we make a lot of things. You know that we make juice, we make iced things and all that. Yeah. So being a barista is something that really makes people want to know who a barista is, not just Swabra Banks, because someone will be like, oh, Swabra Banks and I see coffee, or maybe she's in the coffee business.
Now, Emma, you see, like, she's speaking about being a barista. Most of us didn't know that a barista does coffee, does juices, does cocktails, various beverages. Yeah. So at least if we brand ourselves as baristas, we get to put our image out there, and we'll get some business coming through.
Yeah, I remember someone telling me that the first time he heard the word barista, he thought it was
a lawyer.
A lawyer.
yeah, because let me tell you something. I was having a conversation with now his spokesperson of NUP, Joe Senyon. Yeah. So the first time I met him, he asked me, "What do you do?" Because it was after my senior six. I'm like, "I'm a barista." Wait. I'm studying to be a barista. For you already a barista.
Yeah, so most times people actually get it confused. We still haven't reached that place in Uganda where we know what a barista is. We can't really put the line between a barista of law and a barista as someone who does coffee. So I have my plan, picked out my super cool name. All right, I'm ready to go on social media. Okay. What is that brand identity? Every time I look at Swabra Banks' account, every time I look at Amon's account, what are some of those messages that you want me to get without you ever talking to me? There are some social media handles of different people that you see, okay, and you just get certain keywords immediately, like this one is friendly, this one is really nice. What are some of those words that come to someone when they log onto your Instagram page?
In most cases, when I'm posting something on my Instagram, I make sure I'm sending out a message. It doesn't have to be coffee specifically. It can be something else. Yeah. So I always want to show people that a barista is not just making the latte art and all that. Yeah. It comes right from the garden to the cup. Yeah. So in most cases, when I'm posting something on social media, I make sure I communicate through my posts or my pictures or my anything that a barista does this and this and this. It's not just coffee. Yeah. It's a lot of